We're going to be talking about Tsuna, the Enchantress here. This is a character made by one of our backers, custom character. It's a very unique deck as well. It has two decks. One is her power deck and one is her thrall deck. Let's go over the role card first, and then we'll go over the setup card over here and the rules for her character. And then we'll talk about the powers and thralls and how everything works. At the start of the round, this isn't always active. At the start of the round, you may replace any number of powers with thralls. Place these replaced powers on the bottom of your player deck. These are right here out on the board right now. These are her normal powers. And then we have thralls here. So when it says place these, replace, or it says at the start of the round, you may replace any number of powers. You can say, I want to replace this one, and this one would come into play. The great thing about that is you can replace face down powers and get a thrall, kind of like a mini heal. When Tsuna is dealt damage, if the damage is assigned to a thrall, do not exhaust it. Instead, discard it, then replace it with a power at the end of the round. So if I had this thrall out right here, and if I were to take damage, this thing would get instead would be discarded, and it would replace with another power. So if I took 2 damage to this thrall, you can only take 1 or 2 damage. If it's flip over, you can take 1. If it's not, you can take 2. It would get discarded, and you won't lose the power slot. They get replaced. But this is discarded, and once you're through your thrall deck, you don't have thralls anymore. Thralls are kind of like her followers. No, they are her followers that she's enchanted through her adventures. Passive. Once per round, if you would deal damage to another player or thrall, reduce that damage by 1. She's damaging other players and thralls. Target player may unflip their roll. They take 1 damage. So, and target thrall flip effect activates twice this round. This condition here for like target player may unflip their roll. They take 1 damage. It's great for characters like Unmay and then all attacks deal plus 2 damage. It doesn't work on characters like Emberhoof, who can only unflip her roll card when a character gets shrunk. So some characters can only some of the newer characters can only unflip their roll card if a condition is met. Lumi and Emberhoof are those two. We put that in the game so the flip effects can be stronger, but we want this character to kind of just kind of double a flip effect for some of the older characters, and it would just fit the theme of her character, so it's pretty cool. You can do a lot of cool combos with this. It works better with some characters than others. Like Maladum, since he builds counters, is not really going to help him, but Unmay, Gaz, etc., it's going to be awesome with those characters. Think of like with Sorton, you can double partner and have like 18 dice shared across 3 players. Okay, so we talked about that. So let's talk about how these work here. The decks separate thralls and powers into 2 decks. Thralls are considered powers. Thralls come into play at the start of the round by replacing your powers. Thralls exhaust and activate as normal. When they take damage, they're discarded. Unexhausted thralls can take 2 damage, and exhausted thralls can take 1 damage. You do not lose power slots from thralls discarded due to damage. Those power slots are instead filled by a power at the end of the round, just kind of how we talked about earlier. Thralls can be targeted by heal effects and refresh as normal from spending the morale. So if you just exhaust a thrall, like you use it and you flip it over, and you can still get it back with morale. They're just considered powers because you can interact with them just like normal powers. So other players can target them and anything. So yeah, that's that. So let's go over some of her abilities here. So remember you can replace thralls at the beginning, or replace powers at the beginning of the round with thralls. So if I don't like, say, Clarity of Thought here, I draw this thrall and I put it here. And then this would go in the bottom of my player deck. So my player deck just happens to be here. She only has 10 cards in her player deck, so I don't have much room. So this just consider this like player deck here. So that would go on the bottom. So in a combat round, you would normally roll your dice and do your effects or resolve your abilities, flip over your powers. So if I were to use, let's say, Lash of Fear, and I use the bottom, I would spend 2 dice, target an enemy. If it deals damage to you, deal that enemy damage equal to 4 plus the amount you're dealt by that enemy. Damage prevented is not counted towards this ability's damage. So if you took 2 damage from an enemy, you would deal 6 damage. And then here, let's get another thrall. Let me grab one of these thralls to show off. Yeah. So here we have a thrall. Top abilities, you spend dice, you deal 1 damage up to 4 enemies. These attacks ignore armor. And then target a thrall or another player. The next attack they make this round ignores armor. So this is a flip effect. It's completely free. So if this is on my board, I can just flip it and use it. And yeah, and that's why she can target thrall flip effect activates twice this round. She has that ability. So that's pretty nice. You can always just use the bottoms for free if you just want to, use them at the end of the round because you didn't get the die rolls. And then spend morale. When you spend morale or get healed, they do refresh. Now, if I were to say, say I had this on my board and I took 2 points of damage, I can be like, well, I don't want to take, I could take 1 damage here, 1 damage here, and just flip these over. Or I can say I just take 2 damage here, 2 damage here. This is, discarded. It's gone. And then at the start of the round, at the end of the round, you replace, this with a power, just a normal power. And then the beginning of the next round, you have the option to replace any powers. I could replace all 6 powers with thralls if I really wanted to and use the bottom flip effects for free and then take 6 damage. But then those thralls are gone. So she can kind of absorb a lot of damage early on with her thralls. But once those are gone, she only has her powers left. And her powers aren't as strong as, the normal character's powers because she plays around her thrall deck as well. But that's Tsuna in a nutshell. If you have any questions, just comment below and I will answer those. Thank you everyone for watching this video. This is Art. Take care and goodbye.